to hell with that. And I think we can win. We win. Intelligent Black people dominate racism every day of the week. So
Now,
there's
no,
right now, I'm not going to play this, but this is more. This is just something I've been following with this Michigan coach. I'm so mad. I figured out I did something in my head where I realized that between this coach at Michigan and the coach at Michigan State, those two guys literally lost $100 million, $100 million in generational wealth because they chose to because they didn't have discipline, sexual discipline. That's $1 billion in assets, actually. By the time, if that money is invested properly, if I sat down with both of those guys and said, "Hey, we got 100 million to work with. Here's how we can invest it in a very safe, secure way so that it grows into generational wealth," that money would have been $1 billion probably in about 20 or 30 years, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less. I don't know. But by the year 2050, 50 or so, 2055, that money that would have been $1 billion in wealth. So they threw $1 billion away over an orgasm or two or five or something. But I want you to really think about that the next time you think about laying down with somebody. Or if you don't believe that sleeping with another person is an investment, then you haven't been in class long enough. In fact, that's one of the biggest investments you can ever make. The biggest investment you will ever make is not in the stock market. It is in your life. It is in people. It is literally in the people that you choose to risk your assets with, your financial assets, your reputational assets, your family asset. I mean, you look at just how much these men lost. And this is one of the reasons that in our Black Business School for Children, it's called Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. The model we use is KID, knowledge, investment, discipline. The D is actually the most important part. The discipline part is the hardest part. The knowledge, that's the easiest. There's knowledge everywhere. All you got to do is sit down and listen. The investment takes a little more time, but it requires consistent investment. If you invest and build that capital base, then a knowledgeable person can grow wealth very easily. But then there's the discipline piece. That's emotional intelligence. That's not logical. It's not based on how much money somebody gave you. It's based on what kind of human you're choosing to be. And I'm not talking about this in terms of good people and bad people. I'm talking about this in terms of, like, are you going to be solid in what you're doing, or are you going to be flimsy and unfocused and easily distracted and easily frightened and everything else? Like when I was explaining to you, the money that I made from the cannabis investment, which I'm very excited about. I keep talking about it because it's cool. Um, that required discipline from me. I haven't always been disciplined. You're not talking to a man who has discipline all the time. We all fall short. They went in church. They say we all fall short of the glory of God. But no, but really, like we all fall short of who we want to be, right? So excellence, in my view, is a subscription that you renew every single day of your life. And so we all have days when we fall short, 100%. But in this particular case with the cannabis investment, that's an example where discipline did it. Knowledge wasn't the hard part. I knew that at some point the US is going to legalize cannabis. Investment wasn't hard. I had money to invest. I had money to invest, and I did invest the money. But the discipline piece, here's where the discipline kicked in. The discipline kicked in when I kept seeing my investment go down in value. When I'm not winning, I'm losing. It's like, man, this thing went down another 20%, another 30%. Can it keep going down? Oh my God. Right. But the discipline was like, no, 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 no. Boys, when we started this was a 5, 10 year plan. This was not a 2 week plan. This was not a 6 month plan. This was not a 1 year plan. This is a 5, 10 year plan. Are you going to stick with the plan, or are you going to waffle the way your punk ass did with Bitcoin? I waffled with Bitcoin. I'm not going to lie. I sold some Bitcoin when it was like 17, $18,000. I regretted it ever since. Right now, Bitcoin is hovering near 100,000, 90 something thousand. It was 128,000 or something. And so when I saw how much it went up, then when it went down again, I said, no, we're not waffling this time. We're going to do better this time. So ultimately, when you make your move and be consistent with it and have the discipline.